There's a sixth sense beyond that which is known to man. The sense is sought after as the Holy Grail, and as precious as immortality. It's the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and entertainment, and it lies at the pit of a man's fears and the summit of his genius. This sense, of course, is a sense of humor, and this is Sense of Humor TV.
What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Sense of Humor TV. Today we have another special guest, fellow comedian, actor, podcaster, my good friend Martin Morrow.
What up, boy?
What's up, man? Good to fucking. Thanks for coming through.
Hey, thanks
this is
for
dope.
having me.
This is dope. I had you on the hit list for a while, but like I said, we just kind of upped the production value a little bit here. So
I see you.
We got it going. We still have an Xbox controller in the set, but no need to worry about that.
Just like low key, you know.
We always not always, but like one way I like to start is like I was trying to think about like exactly how like me and you met each other.
Yeah.
And we might have met at the Ice House. I was trying to think like I can't remember putting my finger on it, but I remember like I don't know if we met at the Ice House. I think we met at one time before that, but I remember like me and you chopping up in the back in like the green room by like the bigger room or whatever, and then I just remember being like, oh dude, that dude's a fucking cool ass dude. And then like now we've been like friends for like a year or so. So
yeah, no, we've probably met each other at least 5 times.
Yeah.
Before we were like, oh, this dude's like, we knew each other. We were like, oh, that dude's cool. I don't remember his name, but that dude's cool as hell. And then it's just like every time it was like a vibe. But yeah, man, I also could not tell you the exact moment we met, but I could tell you several moments we've met, if that makes sense.
100%. Like I have so many of my memories, and we'll go through them, of me like being like, because I've always thought you were funny, but like, dude, you like, I feel like unintentionally, just you being you makes me laugh so fucking hard, like so much. Like the first time was definitely when we went to Jay's birthday, and I walk in and you're playing the trombone.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, because I remember it was so packed, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna find these guys. You know what I mean? And then like, I just see the fucking thing going, and I was like, oh, I found them. You know what I mean? Or when we went to that one comedy show, this was probably like 6 months ago, and you sat in the front row.
Oh yeah.
That's another like time. I'm just like, again, you just you being you,
bro.
And like you're not even doing it to be funny. You just do it, and then I'm like, I can't handle it. Yeah, even like you just doing that accent in the elevator. By the way, Martin was about to do a fucking British accent this entire podcast.
It's fine, bro.
Yeah. At first too, I was like, what is he? I couldn't pick up on it. I was like, is he doing an accent right now? Like it took me a second to be
That's
like,
how good it was.
Yeah.
You guys really missed out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I was like, am I tripping, or does Martin always talk this way? Like,
yeah, man. No, that's for the Patreon now.
But yeah, dude, I mean, since I've known you, you've been killing it. But like, I feel like the podcast has really took off, and like, your fucking clips from that are hilarious, dude.
Thank you, man. Shout out Before the Bell, bro.
Yeah, Before the Bell, guys. If you haven't checked it out, like wrestling. Speaking of, I wanted to real quick. I don't know if you want to.
Oh, wow.
Let's go, baby. I've been hiding this the whole time.
Okay, with the nipple out, too.
Well, yeah, it's cut off because it's Stone Cold, you know what I mean?
I feel you.
It was either this or Hulkamania, but I went with my gut and figured that you were more of a Stone Cold guy.
Wait, Stone Cold or who?
Or Hulk.
It's definitely Stone Cold.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
All right, my intentions were right.
I'm rocking this Undertaker throwback hoodie right now.
Dude,
so shout out to them.
Taker's my favorite wrestler of all time.
Really?
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Our goal for the year is to interview him.
Really, dude, that you gotta let me. Well, you know, you guys might not know, but like obviously I love Kurt Angle because he went to my high school.
Yeah.
But Taker was always just my favorite growing up. Like he just didn't talk, and he was just badass. And like I went to his Hell in the Cell match, not the one where he
through Mankind off.
No, but it was when he came back. It was like the anniversary one of it, and I went to that, and I like had a Taker sign, and like that was like the heyday of whatever. But I planned that because I figured that's something you would do. Watching your you guys got to check out their podcast. It's fucking awesome.
I wear different gimmicks on our podcast, so I've dressed up as like Gold Dust and Dusty Rhodes and Farouk, all different types.
That one was hilarious. The one you just were doing the
milk.
The milk on the what was it? The intolerance.
The nation of lactose intoleration.
That's what it was, dude.
Yeah, man.
I was cracking up. Oh my god! I was trying to tell you that at the Laugh Factory the other night. I was not doing it justice. I was like, "What were you doing?"
Bro, everybody there was ripped. So
yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Because I was like, I remember saying, I was like, I don't remember if that it came off even making sense, but
yeah.
But no, dude, I fucking love the pod. It is really like, again, just like being on a pod, but like, you know, you get like to respect it, and it's just like also you bring in that energy every time. I feel like the other guys probably like appreciate that because it just adds like something to the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just destroy my voice for them every week, and then
Were you always planning on doing like costumes, or was that just?
No, man. That came because I had a layover in Dallas, and I like bought some cowboy boots, and was like, oh man, how could I incorporate this into a costume? And I like came in one week as Dusty Rhodes, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like I like cut a promo at the beginning, and then it just led into where every week I was like, how can I up this? How can I do another one? And I feel like it's grown a lot, but it's expensive, number one.
Yeah. Where do you get the stuff off? Just random stuff online? Or?
Dude, online, some stuff I have at the house already.
Yeah.
And I'll just like kind of put it on or piece it together. But yeah, it's hard to come up with people on a weekly basis because a lot of guys just wear like trunks and that's their whole thing. And it's like, I'm not about to go in there in my underwear.
100%. Yeah. I mean, we got to film. How long do you guys usually shoot for? Like an hour or two?
We do like an hour and usually hour to 20 minutes. And then we have our Patreon, which is typically like 20 minutes to an hour plus.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, definitely like as a fan of like your guys' podcast, like I definitely keep doing the gigs because it definitely is fun for the viewers. But I'm sure that, I mean, that's a nice thing about wrestling. It's been going on for so long. There's a lot of people you can like do, you know what I mean? And then there's return characters. I'm sure that you like. Have you done anybody twice yet, or?
Rey Mysterio, but on accident.
Okay.
So I have like several lucha masks, like several Rey Mysterio masks as well. And I thought the one I was bringing was a different one than the one I wore the first time. So that's been the only repeat, but that was like kind of accidental.
Were you like always like growing up? Were you like always into wrestling and like? Or is it,
yeah, my grandparents are into it on my mom's side, and but religiously love WCW. So
okay, that's like our day.
Yeah. That was like 95, 96. But they watched it like all the time, and so I'd see it with them. And then there was one day I was home alone, and I saw Razor Ramon come out for the first time. I was like, yo, this dude's cool as hell. And that's what got me into it. So I've been a fan. Like, I think the only time I kind of dipped out was like 02, 03.
Okay.
But, yeah, other than that, I've pretty much just followed it through and through.
All right, we'll get more into the podcast later, but I again, just like, it's so rare I can talk to another guy that knows anything about wrestling, too. You know what I mean? So it's just fun. I'm sure you're probably, I don't know if you ever get sick of it, but you got your own podcast to talk about wrestling a lot. But
I feel like the only time I get sick of it is when there's like someone who's just fucking weird, and they're like, hey, so who's your favorite guy? And I'm like, this dude, this guy. Oh yeah, I like that guy. And then you're like, all right, man.
Yeah, you're like, you remember his match from 1997 when he played? Like, you're like, all right, dude, I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
But
I'm probably like that to somebody.
But no, like, again, it's fun. It's fun when you like the person. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that's what makes it fun. But just even like your just background, because like there's some stuff that like I obviously know about you, but like I've waited because I wanted to have you on the pod, and it just comes off more natural. I feel like on camera to like not asking you stuff that you're like, bro, you already know this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, did you like act first or stand up first, or like what? How did that all?
So I did theater first.
Okay.
And then I did theater in college, or theater in high school, excuse me. And didn't have any plans or intentions to work in any manner in front of the camera and on stage or anything like that. My degree was in radio, TV, film, and I wanted to be a director. I wanted to be a writer. And when I went to my freshman year of college, I had like the same kind of core group of friends that I had in high school. And two of them were in a relationship, but the girl cheated on the dude. But like, we only knew each other.
And you guys all went to school, like college and high school together.
Yeah.
Cool.
So she had cheated on the dude, so they were like fighting all the time. So they also wouldn't just not hang out with each other. And so I was like, man, I kind of need to like find something for me. And I first started writing like lyrics. Then I was like, I can't play guitar and I can't play like piano or anything. So I turned into poetry, and I was like, this is kind of lame. Because like I'm not like getting no bitches from it. So then I started writing jokes, and then me and my homie Tubby just started like collabing together, and then we started off as a duo, and we just like hit the open mics at Auburn, and that's kind of what led into that. And then I think like the next year I started doing improv. Okay. So that's what kind of led into me doing theater. So it's all like kind of around the same time frame, but.
And what's your hometown?
My hometown is Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Auburn, and then so you weren't too far.
Yeah, like 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's fucking funny because I started as like I used to like rap, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, but writing, it's just like it all goes somewhere, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But that's when you said that, I was like, but it was the same thing. I kind of learned quickly. I was like, all I can do is like write the lyrics and maybe rap them. I have no musical prowess at all. Like I have none. But so you guys started doing? Would you guys do like tandem on like, or what was your style? It's interesting. You started with like a friend.
Yeah, dude. We were called Tubby and Martin, and it was like a stand-up sketch kind of hybrid. So
Okay.
we would do stand-up that sets up the sketch essentially. So like we had one about called like Blacking Out, where he would I would pretend to be like a white dude and
Do your white voice. Was it good?
yeah, you know, kind of right, that kind of deal. And I was like, you're making me like kind of like the Hulk.
Oh, okay.
And then I would have a hat, and I'd turn the hat around to show that I'm black, and then that'd be me black. And they're like, "Hey, motherfucker, I told you not to fucking. I told you get your ass out of here." Like
That's a good skit. Like,
yeah.
Have you guys ever like? Have you ever like put like you should reenact that. Dude, I love like going forward and going back and be like, you won't like me when I'm black, or like just go full on like crazy on him. Does Tubby still do stand up?
Every now and then. He's in a band now. He's still in
Okay.
Birmingham, but he has a really amazing band. So check out Joshua Mays and his band and everything. He's got like several bands. He's killing in the music game though.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Shout out. So do you like so did you go right from like college to LA, or was there some time in between, or like how was that? How'd you get out here?
Yeah, so I initially moved. So I was in New York for an internship at Ugly Betty, and that was like 2010.
Okay.
And I kind of was like, I'd just gone through my first breakup. I was back like doing stand up by myself, and it was 21. So I was like, I had that like kind of ego to myself, and then New York humbled the fuck out of me.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
Where were you living?
I was living in Queens. In Jackson
Okay,
Heights.
I love Queens. I'm gonna be in Astoria for 2 weeks in like 2 weeks.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. But yeah. So I know that's like other than Manhattan, obviously, where everyone hangs out. Queens has been the other spot. But how long were you out there?
6 months. And
6
so
months.
the plan was to move back there, but then like all the like my grandparents went into debt, and then my dad died, so I was in Alabama for another 6 months, and I was gonna move back to New York, but the options were New York for at maybe $1,000 to my name, and I could go to New York for a month, or I could go to Chicago for 3 months. So I was like, well, I guess I'll do Chicago and see if like things work out there. So that's where I went.
And I just went to Chicago this last summer, but it was for another comic I know. He was getting married, and he had his bachelor party out there. He's from Iowa, but I hadn't been to Chicago since I was like a little kid. I fucking had a good time. I don't know. What was your experience out there?
Yeah, man. I my first year was kind of rough. I was very funny, but I was also I was too nice to people, and they didn't trust that. And I think I had a friend who kind of got jealous as well of like me like getting bookings, because he had told me we were childhood friends, and he said, yeah, your first year you're probably not going to get any bookings or anything. And then like 3 days in, I started getting bookings, and so we kind of started butting heads, and I quit smoking weed at that point too, and he always wanted to smoke weed.
Yeah.
So we just kind of like had like a weird beef, and that. So I was kind of like having to refine myself and shit like that.
He kind of got I hate that energy, and you have I mean we've run into it a million times doing this. Is like people will be like, like that whole just like, oh, how'd you get that, or like, oh, you won't get that for like, that's not gonna happen for you for a while, and it's just like, yeah, it might not, but like, what are you telling me that's not gonna help any? Yeah, like you just get that weird like, aren't you rooting for me? Kind of thing. Like I don't know, because I just again knowing you long enough is like you're not that way at all.
No.
Like, and I'm not either. It's like I'm the first to be like, oh, dude, that's cool. Like I'm glad you guys are doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually had a friend that was on here a couple times ago, and he was like, well, when I first met you, I didn't like you, and he was like, cause he kind of thought I had that energy. He's like, I just thought you were like not that guy, and then he's like, and I kept running into you and be like, oh no, that is like the kind of guy he is. You know what I mean? Like they think you're coming off like fake or whatever it comes off as. But so then you were in Chicago for how long?
So I was there for 2011. I left at the end of 2011 to go back to Birmingham because I'd met a girl like when I was visiting. I was like, okay, maybe this will work out, and then it didn't. So then I moved back to Chicago the summer of 2012. And I was there till like summer 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would visit here. I would visit LA, New York a bunch, and I was like, dude, like the first time I came to LA, I was like, this is where I have to be.
What brought you out here the first time? I'm just curious, like work or?
So the first time I got booked at the Laugh Factory had a different manager.
Okay.
Who saw me and he was like, yo, you know, and Jamie Masada, he saw me and he was like, yo, this kid's funny. You come out to LA, come out to LA. So like the first time they booked me for the Laugh Factory out here, and it was like a Monday or Tuesday night, and I was trying to be sexy, so I didn't wear my glasses and shit, and I had someone heckling me, right? And I didn't know, I couldn't see them, because I was trying to be all cute, and then it turned out it was I forgot who went up after me. I think it was like Kirk Fox or somebody like that, and he was like, "Wait, are you fucking Coach Carter's son?" And then I like put my glasses on afterwards, and I was like, "Oh, dude, that's cousin Skeeter's cousin." Like,
my god!
Fuck, I would have had so much for this dude if I saw him.
Yeah.
And
you're like, I'm never not wearing my glasses again,
dude. I've worn them. Yeah. The only time I didn't wear them after that, I think, was for like fucking Last Comic Standing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was it was very surreal. Like, that's who fucking roasted me, Coach Carter's son.
Right.
Yeah, and
you were just visiting at that point?
Just visiting, man. I think I was here for like a week and did a bunch of shows and a couple podcasts and stuff like that. But I was like, the first couple days I fucking hated it, but then after like the next few, I was like, this is where I want to be. So,
and what made you make the jump? Like, what made you like finally be like, all right, I'm gonna move to LA?
I went through another breakup, and I think that was like the only thing holding me in
where
Chicago.
You were. Gotcha.
Yeah. And just kind of through, I guess you could call it osmosis, I had lost a job there, and was like, okay, this is all sending me here.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Telling you to go.
Yeah, but I'd said my original plan was to move at the end of 2017. I just like was like, okay, there's nothing keeping me here now, so I might as well just go ahead and go.
And so when you first came out here, what was like were you like, oh, this was like immediately a great move, or was it like iffy at the beginning, or like where was the first like? I mean, I guess you already had done the Laugh Factory when you visited, but like where was like the kind of first place you were getting up?
Gosh, the first places I know I did the OG Ice House a few times.
Okay, wow.
There was this place at the Springbok. It was a South African restaurant. I used to go up there a lot. I can't remember the name of that club though. But there are a lot of like places in the Valley I would do kind of early on, and actually I'd quit stand up for a little bit because I'd been doing it at that point since I was 18.
Yeah.
So I was like kind of burnt out and just dealing with some shit mentally, and I became a security guard, like a graveyard shift at it's a post-production company.
Okay.
I think they changed the name of it, but I was doing graveyard shift. I would just like have to shoo off like prostitutes and stuff like that. Like, hey, can you guys not?
Yeah, take it down there.
Yeah. Or like a dude like tweaking on them. I'm like, hey man, can you
go with you
like
in the
4
corner?
feet over there? You're good, brother. Yeah, man. I was a shitty security. I think I was better than the guy before, because I remember one time, bro. It was like the dude was training me, right?
Yeah.
And we like part of our job was there was this girl who worked there, and we have to walk her to her car every night because I guess something happened where like some guy was like, give me your money or whatever the fuck, like one day, right? So we had to walk to her car every night, and dude was like, I was like, oh, why are you leaving? He goes, yeah, I want a job that lets me have a gun. And I'm like, all right, cool, bet.
Yeah, you're like, I don't think you need a gun.
Yeah, man. So it's like, again, this motherfucker's training me on how to do the job. And we're at the computer one late at night, and he's like showing me some shit, and then he would like click over, and he's on Craigslist, and that's when the girl comes out to like get walked. She goes, oh, she's being friendly. Hey, what are you guys up to? He goes, yeah, we're just looking at guns we can't afford. And I'm like, no, the fuck, no.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
He's
not
doing
we.
I'm not. Yeah. I don't want to buy expensive guns. It's not.
You're like, we motherfucker, I ain't doing shit.
Yeah, man.
That's fucking. I always love hearing those like stories about like the odd jobs that we had to do in our fucking career. You know what I mean? It's like the amount of fucking ridiculous like catering and just fucking random shit for money I've done. You know what I mean? Just to keep it going. But and then did you like so then you were working there, but like So like again, you stopped doing stand up. What made you kind of get back into it then?
Dude, so my friend, she invited me to a show in North Hollywood. There was this guy. I guess I won't say his name, but he used to run. It was like a fucking terrible bringer show. And she was like, "Will you please come to my show?" I was like, "All right." So it was like $20. And I had never paid for comedy before, but I was like, it's my friend.
Right.
I want to support her.
Being a good friend.
Pay the $20, right? And the show was so bad that I was like, why am I holding myself back from, this is something I love doing, and this is something I'm good at. Beyond anything else, I'm good at it. Mm-hmm. And to the point where I've had people like, I think one of the more rewarding feelings in comedy is when you have someone say, hey, man, I needed that. Like, I've been going through XYZ. This helped me get through the week, get through the day. I just lost this person. I just lost my job, whatever the case may be. I needed that. And so once I reminded myself of I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing this for other people, that took away that pressure that I think I put on myself of I have to succeed. I have to do this. I have to be great. I have to do that. I have to be number one. And it also kind of like helped me reevaluate how I like view other people and how I treat people and shit. So like something I like to do now, and I don't like talking about it because I'm one of those people who thinks like the minute you mention charity, it's not charity.
Yep.
But I started doing a thing, especially when I was like started booking commercials and shit, was if I was at like Target for like Christmas, right? If I see like somebody with a kid in line behind me, I'll say, "Oh, hey, can I pay for theirs too?" Right? And that's I don't think me in my 20s would have done that, but me like 30 on, I try to do that at least like once or twice.
No, dude, I it's so funny you say that because I do. There's a homeless shelter right on my street right here, so I'm like I see these people every day as I'm walking my dog, so I try to like build with them a little bit, but it's like that same thing where it's like I shared it probably like a month or two ago. I was walking and I see a dude sitting there like picking up a cigarette butt, smoking them or whatever thing, and I was just like, if I come back and he's still sitting there, I'm gonna stop in the gas station and give him some water and some cigarettes and like whatever. And I did, and he was like, you know what I mean. And then like another lady, see her out here. She was always with her kid, and you get that like, oh, what are you doing out here with a kid? Like, you know what I mean? Like, blah, blah, blah. But then I see her again. She's like selling paintings she made, you know what I mean? And stuff, like trying to do something, right? Yeah. So I see her walking the one day with her kid, and I was like on the phone. I was like, hey, I'll call you right back. And I was like, I just see her and I start talking to her, like making conversation. And I just ended up giving her all the money I had in my wallet, which is only probably like $37, like nothing crazy. But I gave it to her. Never saw her again. Got her, like maybe that helped her get off the street. Who knows? You know what I mean? But it's like stuff like that where like I don't ever like post or advertise it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, but it does make me feel good.
Exactly.
And like, yeah, and like that's what I get out of it. You know what I mean? Is like, and but like that's what my dad was like that. But my dad would, he died without a single dollar to his name.
Dude, same.
Yeah, and he would always give homeless people stuff, and I'd be like, Dad, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And he'd be like, they need more than me. And like that was all he ever said about it. But it just it's one of, I think like you and even just like you're talking about you get on stage and like you have that on stage, like when I see you do stand up, it's like you're having a good time and it's contagious. You know what I mean? Like you see people over there and they're so like you said, worried about other things or like how's this coming off, or like what if I say this and they don't like it, you know what I mean? Like you're just like, again, you're like, and I'm very conversational too, like but I can tell like when you like your style, like you're having fun up there and it makes the whole crowd like have fun, you know what I mean? So I always am interested how people got back and do it. But I hear what you're saying, like you kind of so you went and saw a show and you kind of got the itch again.
Yeah, I was like, man, these guys suck.
Let
me go back. And that's kind of what reopened the door for me. It was like, okay, I shouldn't focus so much on this extra bullshit. Just go up there and have fun again.
Did you love it the first time you did stand up, or what was your like initial like?
First time I loved it. Yeah. Like originally.
Yeah. Like your first time getting up.
Yeah, and then it's funny because I did early on. I did a comedy competition where I bombed my dick and balls off
down in Alabama.
At Auburn. And I was working for like our on-campus news station, so I was like, they were interviewing the winner, and I kept being like, hey, by the way, I'm retiring from comedy. This is kind of a big deal. I'm the young phenom, 19 years old, and this ain't, I did it, but this ain't really for me. Just like interrupting this dude's like, he just got like $1,000.
That's so funny, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and then so when you got back out here, did you go like right back to the Laugh Factory, or were you like, were you doing the Flappers open mics? What was your path?
Yeah, man, I did the Flappers open mic. I did the Laugh Factory open mic. I did think I signed up for potluck, and then I got on a Kill Tony.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was like it wasn't what Kill Tony is now.
Yeah, it was one of the early days kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'm not fucking Casey Rocket now. But yeah, I think about that a lot too. Like, fuck, if I would have waited.
Right.
But it was also my boy Michael Lair, R.I.P. He was the one who got me on. Because he was one of like Tony's,
like and his crew.
In his crew, yeah. And I'm like, fuck, man, if he would have stayed alive for just a couple more years.
Yeah, come on, stop being so selfish.
Got me down to Austin. But yeah, man. Yeah, did a lot of that, and like, I did a lot of flapper shows also. Man, I forgot about that.
The reason I said that is because I swear every comic who's coming on here, they'll always be like, so I started doing open mics and flappers, and so did I. Like that's how I met Sean. That's how like I met like all like Heidi, who used to host my show, and like that's how I met so many of my friends. But like, I don't go there anymore really. But you know, it's like it's funny that's kind of where like it's just like I'm always shocked when someone's like, no, I never hit that place. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that, bro. The reason I think I stopped doing the open mic, there was one night where they were like, because you do the mic, and there was like this guy who was sitting. He's like, yeah, man, I haven't done comedy in like 13 years. I'm like, all right, cool. He goes, and even then I was just kind of doing it sporadically. And then he was awful, and they gave him a fucking like 8 p.m. main stage St. Patrick's Day slot, and I was like, okay, so what am I?
I mean, trust me, dude, I could stay here all night with stuff. Like, I mean, people used to start telling me like, don't get too funny around here, and I was like, what? And then I like, you know what I mean? Then I realized, but it's funny because the first time I didn't know what I was doing, dude. I hadn't any idea. So I went to one of the, which I thought was an open mic, but it was the audition thing. Yeah. And then I remember him being like, oh, I'm going to give you guys feedback. And I was like, what? Like, I've never heard of feedback after a mic. And then, and they're like, oh, there is a mic after this. And it was Sean's mic. And it was back when he did it at the bar. And it was like crazy. Like there was like the weirdest people in the world showed up to it. There was like a homeless person. There was like this one lady that went up and she was out of her mind. Like the only laugh she got during the entire set was she goes, yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm bringing comedy back. Yep. And like everyone started laughing at her, you know what I mean? And like the whole thing, I was like, I'm never going to that mic again. But then I got booked off of I got booked off of that show, and I did like some one of those 5-minute shows in the Yoo-Hoo room. And Ray Lau came up to me and was like, hey, were you at that mic the other day? And I was like, yeah. He's like, dude, that was so weird. I was like, yeah. And he's like, it's usually not like that. You should come back. And I was like, all right. So I went back, and the second time it was great. Like Paul Rodriguez dropped in, and like it was actually, it was like dope. So I was like, it's funny because I'm like, if Ray never said that, I don't even know how much comedy I would be doing right now. But yeah, it's butterfly effect shit. Like, yeah. But
serendipitous.
Yeah, serendipitous. And then so then you started doing the stand up again. Were you acting at that time too, or were you like kind of like how did that whole?
So I got back into acting. I want to say around 2018, 19. I got a new manager, or excuse me, I got a new agent, and they were like, okay, this is what we can do for you, blah, 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 blah.
Did they find you, or did you find them?
So kind of both. So okay. my old boss, she's like best friends with my agent.
Gotcha.
So she put me through to them, and they loved me, and like we connected instantly. And I started booking shit, and that made them like me even more.
Right.
And yeah, man, it's kind of like a simple like osmosis of, but I think part of that was I beforehand when I would do auditions for stuff, I'd be so like wound up, I'd sweat the whole time, I was nervous, and I wouldn't remember lines and shit like that. So I had a really difficult time back like in Chicago or back when I was like in my 20s doing auditions. Mm-hmm. And then like I think taking a break from everything made me realize like, oh, none of this shit matters. Like the things that matter are family and fucking friends and keeping yourself healthy and
going. This is like a bonus,
dude. Yeah. And once I got over that hump, I started like booking stuff.
Interesting.
I barely booked anything before. I think I booked like 3 or 4 things before that. But like once I kind of had this new mindset after taking a break, and I didn't really like take classes or anything. I just was like able to be me and see how I kind of act on camp. Because I would look at old tapes. I was like, oh, I used to talk out of the side of my mouth. And now I know how to use my full mouth, or I know how to like improvise, but within the world of whatever this is. And that helped a ton.
And it's funny you say that because I think that's like, again, like just when I was talking earlier about your stand-up, it's like, I think it's just the confidence you have in doing it. You know what I mean? That kind of is like, oh, this guy's like a professional, you know what I mean? Which is like sometimes, again, you'll see, like, I mean, I remember when I first was coming out here, like stuff I would go like, shows all over. I could say any club, but I'd be like, fuck, like if I was up, I would be killing this guy's like sucks and like is not taking advantage of it. You know what I mean? Like, which is not to try to like talk shit, but it was just in my head, like as a, competitive, not a competitive person, but you know how it goes. When you're just like, damn, this person getting an opportunity, I would like kill for, you know what I mean? And they're not taking the most of it or whatever. Yeah. But that is funny. It's funny when you go back and you watch your old shit too. Like I remember like one of the things I had to teach myself is like now if you see me do stand up, I'll put the mic on my chin because I would turn my head and like not bring the mic with me, and then it'd be like, you know what I mean? And it's like little shit like that where I'm like, what was I doing? Like, but you're just so thinking about other shit. You're not like thinking about like, okay, I'm actually supposed to like perform. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you did so in high school, did you do like theater then?
So I was in the band. That was my main thing.
Playing the trombone?
Play trombone. Yeah. So I started in the 6th grade and then did that through college, but there was my I think I want to say my junior year, I wanted to play in the orchestra for our there's like a play that was going on that my buddy was in. So I was trying to get into that. It was a musical, excuse me. And I think it was Fiddler on the Roof or some shit like that. But this other kid beat me out for it. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just like audition for the next one. So I tried to like sing, and I was like, oh, I think they cast me as like fucking sailor number 14 in Anything Goes or whatever. They didn't really give us numbers, but that was the number I just gave myself, and I like created like a backstory and shit like that because it was funny for me. Like this guy left his wife behind to work on this cruise ship.
Are you good at singer or?
I was, I think I do okay. My voice has been shot over the past year and a half, I'd say.
Because you have a good voice, like a talking voice. Like when you were saying earlier, I'm like, I could see you being on like radio and stuff. Like you have a good like voice for that.
Yeah, I did do radio for a bit. But yeah, I think age and whatever has, because I went to like a vocal specialist. I want to say like a year or two ago. I was like, hey, I can't sing as good as I used to. They're like, yeah, man.
That happens.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Well,
okay.
My little brother, he's a musical theater actor in New York, so that's why it's like he can fucking sing, and I'm like, I can't sing fucking at all. I mean, I'm a good shower singer, but that's where it leaves me. But it's funny because when anyone says they do theater, I'm always interested because when I was in 5th grade, they like made everyone do the school play or whatever, but they brought in like an actual like director, from the thing. Yeah. And we did like
a scarf.
Yeah, one of those guys. And he like made everyone sing. Or not sing. He just made everyone do the thing. And he just like picked the roles, and I like got the lead, and I didn't want it at all. You know what I mean? Like I played sports, and like I was like, all my friends were like, gay. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to do this at all. And there's kids like crying that they didn't get it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, give it to him. Like give it to Terry. I don't want to do this. And he's like, no, you're my star. Like I need you. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. Like, because I had really really bad social anxiety when I was a kid.
Wow.
Like really crippling. And then like my dad died, and then I kind of just didn't stop giving a fuck about anything. You know what I mean? But but I was really really shy and didn't like doing any of that kind of stuff. And anyway, I did it, and I was like, all right, I'm never doing that again. Like I'll never do that again. But then I ended up being in tech theater in high school. Yeah. So building the sets and stuff like that.
That shit was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. So I really liked that. But then that kind of got me like, oh man, like, and I was in TV production, and I liked that a lot. So that was kind of like always in the back of my mind. But yeah, it's just funny when anyway, I was always around like the theater stuff, with my little brother being in obviously the theater too. So so I mean, you've been killing it in the commercials. I mean, I swear to God, every time I pull out my fucking phone, I see you, dude, which is like always really funny. I was telling the story the other week. I was fucking bombing at some dive bar in NoHo, and I look at the TV and Willie Mack's doing a Subway commercial. And I'm like, I swear every time I pull out my fucking phone, it's one of you two that are on my screen. But thankfully, I love both of you guys, so I'm like, that's always nice to see.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you watch TV and it's someone you fucking hate.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's what happened a few times too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because like a lot of you guys are killing it. Like my boy Sam Landers, he was in the commercial with Chris Hemsworth that was on like the Super Bowl and shit too, and he's doing my next ISL show and stuff. And it's just like again, I'm the opposite where I'm like, I love seeing you as long as it's you guys, like people I like. Yeah. I'm like, oh god, yeah, like you said,
I'll turn that shit off.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's the worst. So when you were growing up, did you watch stand-up growing up, or were you kind of like?
I was big into watching stand-up and sketch shows. So but not like the mainstream shit. So
like Living Color, were you into it? Or
loved in Living Color.
Me too. Dude.
Yeah.
Okay, me too.
In Living Color and Kids in the Hall, those are my two.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and like every now and then I watch like The State, but I didn't really get into SNL until like later in life. But and Mad TV, bro, I love.
That's the other one. You took the words out of my mouth. I was like, what was the one that like Bobby Lee was on?
Bobby Lee, yeah. Key and Peele.
Yeah.
and I think that might be part of the reason why I also chose LA over New York is Mad TV was shot in LA and it had more edge to it than SNL.
100%.
And yeah, just like, it was more.
Jim Carrey was like my favorite too. Like, so
Yeah,
he's my favorite like comedic actor for sure. Like Liar Liar is like my favorite movie I think of all time.
Yeah.
But who was like if you had, I don't want to say like Mount Rushmore. I mean, we could do Mount Rushmore. But like who are your like your four who are your Mount Rushmore of guys when you were like growing up comic wise?
Ooh, when I was growing up.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'm interested.
So I watched I used to watch Premium Blend a lot, and like those like half-hour specials, as well as Comic View on BET.
Oh, okay.
So my Mount Rushmore of when I was growing up, and I won't count sketch because this is
just stand up.
Just stand up. Lavelle Crawford,
dude. Literally, Mike Kim was on yesterday. And he said Lavelle.
Dude,
he's so underrated, dude.
There are moments that I remember watching as a kid that I'm like, that's gonna stick with me forever. But he was talking about being on a plane, and his stomach, like I think he was either hungry or he was or like his like was feeling a rumbly bumbly or whatever. Mm-hmm. But he said he did this and he goes, yeah, my stomach was growling like a tiger. It's still like
it just stuck with you.
The fucking noise that he made, right? And like he was so. Because he wouldn't move a lot, but he was so expressive in his face and his voice, and so like that's one dude. I'm like, God, if I could meet Lavelle Crawford,
right?
I think I've got to see him live like a couple times, but
I've never seen him at the club. Like I've never seen him do stand up. I would love to. Like I mean, in person, obviously. I mean, I've seen his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that dude is so funny. And still going, still killing it. Mm-hmm. So Lavelle Crawford is my number one.
Okay.
Number two, Dane Cook.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
When I was
Yeah. I mean, he was huge when he came.
Dude, yeah, but like that, his Comedy Central Presents where he like took his shirt off and had the tank top on, and he was just so. I think that was the first time I really saw a stand-up use the whole stage.
Yeah.
And the way he moved and utilized sound and fucking his body and stuff like that, and
that's so different because like Lavelle and Dane are like this, you know what I mean? Like that's so crazy that you like them both, you know what I mean? That just shows you like it's an art form, like you like appreciate different kinds of it.
Yeah.
But Dane, I was not expecting that one. I was gonna say,
yeah, bro, go back and watch his first two Comedy Central Presents in this. Yeah. Bruce.
Okay.
Yeah, Bruce. And then my fourth, and I'm gonna say this this is for my youth.
Yeah.
Was probably, it's a toss up between like Pablo Francisco. You know what? No, fuck that. Patrice O'Neal.
My dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just that special he did where he did the Mike Tyson joke.
Oh my! I literally. Dude, last time I was in New York, I was walking on the street doing a Patrice bit, and some girl came out of a fucking place, and she's like, "Are you doing a Patrice O'Neal bit right now?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Did it really good." I was like, "Oh, thanks." I was like, I love Patrice. Like, he's like, his bit about, men don't want to be by themselves, but they want to be alone. You know what I mean? That whole fucking thing. He's like, "Can you be like on the roof or something?" Like that whole fucking thing. He's like, "What are you doing watching the TV with the lights ain't on? You can't see. Isn't that better? Ain't that better? What are you eating? A cheeseburger? I'll make you a sandwich on 47 grain bread with rat turds on it. Tastes like." I mean, he just like. I love Patrice. I mean, again. I feel like that our era, like Patrice, is so underrated. Like, because he died young, obviously.
That was one guy I was so fortunate to meet and see live before he passed.
Where in New York?
New York. So,
man.
Hannibal. I was doing a show at Comics. And it had like an upstairs and a downstairs. So I did the downstairs show. And I went upstairs, and Patrice was performing. And this was the night that I think Corey Haim, the actor, had just died. Right?
Oh, okay.
Of the two Corys. And Patrice did this fucking joke where he was talking about. So remember the Haiti earthquake was like a big deal. All this shit happened, and there was like an earthquake in like Peru or somewhere random that happened afterwards, right? And this also is very telling for the joke. Mm-hmm. But he was like, "Yeah, man, that Haiti earthquake, that was no joke, and that Peru earthquake, that was like the Corey Haim of earthquakes." And it's like so fucking.
Yeah.
And the audience was like, "Oh, that's how he opened."
Yeah, and this is only gonna go up,
dude. And so then I got to like talk to him afterwards.
Really?
It was so cool.
Was he the man?
He was so cool. Because I'm fucking a year in.
Yeah.
And
meeting like one of your heroes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, hey man, just want to say I'm a newer comic. Oh, what's your name? All right, good to meet you, man. Keep at it, right? And that was, I'll float off of that.
Right.
Like I love talking to comedians who met him.
Yeah.
And hearing their stories about him and like the ones he used to like fuck with. Or,
yeah.
Like, yeah, he didn't really like me. Or the ones who were like, yeah, man, I saw him at like the Stardome, and he had my boy. Shout out my boy Matt Davis, who told me the story of like, so Patrice was in Birmingham, and they gave him like an opener who was biracial, right? And the guy's whole set was about how much he loves his wife and how much smarter his wife is and how much smarter women are and shit like that. And then Patrice comes out and he's like, that you can tell a guy really hates women by how much he talks about how much he loves. Like he's like, who the fuck? Like, come out here. And he brings the guy back out.
Oh no.
He's like, what's really going on with you, man? What's really going on? Like, and then like he keeps like kind of pushing him to where this guy reveals he's going through a divorce and his wife is leaving him.
Wow.
And the dude is
he analyzed it from like
fucking like that. So then the guy starts like crying right on stage. He's like, all right, man, you change your perspective. You don't have to do this bullshit, whatever. And the guy's like, thank you, man. And again, on stage, in front of a crowd. And so then the guy leaves, and then producer goes, fucking half-breed, like that. And he said the crowd was like, ah!
That's that thing where it's like, you like, even if he had a show planned, he's willing to change it on a dime to make like whatever happened in the room like that thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's that like. You know what I mean? Like that's like when it's a good not to give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like there's like the not giving a fuck and you like slack off, or there's like the not giving a fuck where he just even has the idea to like do that, and like you said, psychoanalyzes that entire thing and he's right. You know what I mean? Like in the back, like
and I think so many people are trying to, I don't want to say replicate it, but there's so many different energies now of like the kind of crowd work, like where you guys from? Oh, you're dating? How long you been dating for? Like that goofy bullshit.
100%.
So it's that. But and then there are people who are like far right, like, fucking my pronouns are get me another beer, bitch, or whatever, like that lame shit. So but no one is capturing that, like, how to not give a fuck without having to play into some either far right ideology, weirdo shit, or some like fucking hokey, like, you guys, you're in love, whoa, right,
dude. I couldn't agree more. Like I like the ones I hate the most is the people who are like, they'll do like what do you do for work? And it's like, oh, I work at Home Depot. What a loser! Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, he
like,
paid money to come here. Why are you shitting on him?
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't stand that. But yeah, like I like not that they're any similar at all, but like it kind of resurfaced with like the whole Matt Rife shit. Like people are like, oh, now I got to do crowd work to get like a clip that's gonna make me go viral, and it's like. They're just fishing. There's nothing there, and then it's like, I hate that stand up. You know what I mean?
Dude, I saw that one time where a guy set up a camera to point at the audience, and like the camera in the back, and he was like, "Oh, you guys aren't really good." For like 15 minutes, like, you guys aren't really good. Where are you guys from? We're from here. All right.
Yeah, he's just trying anything. Like,
yeah, man. I was like, this is...
Dude, and especially, like, like, all the stand-up we have to watch, it's like, when you see that, that's like, Jesus Christ. But it is funny how, like I kind of liked how... Because you're the first person on the show that we kind of did, like, you're, like, not just your all-time Mount Rushmore. You want another beer?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Not your, like, your all-time Mount Rushmore. You could just put that whatever, yeah. Like, a childhood one, because that is a cool... Because you're right, it, like, changes, you know what I mean? Like, and, like, it's weird, like, I always, like, don't but want to put like Red Fox on mine, you know what I mean? Because like that's where I never had watched stand up, didn't know anything about it. And me and my dad would watch Sanford and Son.
Yeah.
And my dad, I remember him being like, this guy's like a really dirty comedian. And I was like, what? Like I was like young. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'll show you. And he just played like tapes, like the audio of it.
Wow.
That was the first time I ever heard like cunt or pussy or any of that shit. I was like, whoa. Like, and then he's like, oh, if you like this, and it was making my dad laugh real hard. So I was like, it was making me laugh real hard. And then he's like, oh, if you like this, and then he showed me Live on the Sunset Strip with Richard Pryor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was like, then I was like in love with stand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I remember like going, I remember being in school and I was sick one day and I saw Louis C.K. on HBO and I was like, oh my God. And then my friends all came over to my house and we watched it, in my basement. And he was like that whole thing where he was like, suck a bag of dicks. And it's like something me and my friends still say to each other, you know what I mean? And like shit like that. But it is funny because like, so would your like, now that obviously you're grown and everything, like who would you be like, who you think you're like would your Mount Rushmore change at all from your career?
Oh yeah. I think Patrice is still on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
I think my what's funny too? I think my Mount Rushmore today would be different than where it was like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I loved like Hannibal's last special, but then he took it off of YouTube, so now I can't. It's like hard to do that one because you can't watch it again.
Yeah,
and maybe that makes it more mysterious. But like he would do like needle drops, or would talk about like, hey, here's the time that fucking 2 Chainz roasted me, and like would play it, and then would like do a back and forth with.
You ever get compared to Hannibal before?
I have before. I got him. I used to get him and Baron Bond.
Just because you got glasses and kind of have like a distinct voice, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
But yeah, I still say Patrice is up there. I would put it's so tough.
It's so funny because I just watched an interview with Cat Williams, and we had the first 2 he said, it was the 2 of mine, and then I think other 2 were different.
I'd put Cat up there.
Really?
Yeah. Well, fuck.
It's tough.
Yeah, because I love Cat overall. Here's the thing. There's so many comics I watch now, and maybe it's because I'm deeper in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, man, there's so much more meat on that bone, and you dropped it. But I'd put Cat on my Mount Rushmore. I would put. I'm trying to think of like some people I've seen recently who I like really fuck with. I like Dali Wong a lot. Like I saw her live, and I was like, okay, she has a perspective that is so unique to her. But you're like, oh, I could. Why the fuck haven't I thought to talk 30 minutes about my last breakup?
Right,
like that kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I'd put her up there.
Dave,
yeah. He's kind of like in that also Cat realm, where they could be kind of interchangeable based off of their last few specials or what they discuss or what. Because like I love Dave, but I was like, man, this trans shit is going on a long time.
It's so funny. I never want to talk bad about Dave, but it's like it's the same thing where it's like I kind of like I love so much of his other material. It's like, all right, I don't want to, like I'm good on this one. Like let's keep it going. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
It's like, man, who broke your heart, bro?
Right?
Like,
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, because I thought that one special was done and then he did it again. I was like, oh my God, we're back on this. Like, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
and I get he was pissed. So I get
true.
it, but
True,
it's like, God damn, all right.
True.
I would like kind of rotate maybe like Cat and Tom Segura out because Tom Segura is one of those people who I can still go back and listen to a lot.
I just saw him do his hour at the Ice House. It was awesome. I just stood in the back and watched him. He was so funny.
Yeah, man. I haven't seen any of his newer stuff.
It was great. He like had his notepad out and was just like doing it for his special, and I was just like, I was already there that night, so I was like, I'm gonna watch, and I just fucking hung out in the back, and he was killing me.
God.
Yeah, it was really good because I had never seen him live before, so it was cool to see.
Didn't he move to Austin or some shit?
Yeah, he's down there. So I think he just did a weekend. He was in the Legendary Room. I think he did like 2 shows. They sold out in like 2 seconds, but I was doing it. I think I was hosting in the other room, so I just hung in the back. I watched like 30, 45 minutes of it, and he was crushing.
Just that there's someone on stage like, is the host coming back?
yeah.
Augie?
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I kept dipping back in. I was like, all right, we're good. Yeah, that's the heart. Like I got mine's like Richard, Louis, Dave, and then the 4th one's always like interchangeable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was always like, you can put Carlin in there, but it's like I wasn't alive. I wasn't around for Richard either, but I didn't watch as much as like his like actual like stand up. You know what I mean?
I went back and watched Carlin's like SNL, and I was like, a lot of the shit was bad.
Yeah,
like that first because I watched that Saturday Night movie. By the first SNL, and I was like, "Yo, this is terrible. These guys suck." But they're like, "This is avant-garde." avant-garde these nuts.
Yeah, right. Like I especially like, I mean, you can speak to this maybe. I mean, we have to see it all the time. Is like, especially like my style is like, I'm a big misdirection. You know, I'm not like shock humor, but it's like I feel like crowds get tired of. I get tired of when people are like, let me tell you how I really feel about this. Like, you know what I mean? And they forget to make it funny or like, you know what I mean? So like, I try to immediately be like, all right, this is gonna like, I'm not telling you any of my real beliefs really that much. I'm just kind of like fucking with you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's that, especially as a white dude. Like, there's so many white dudes up there like, this is what's wrong, and I'm mad, and about you know, it's like I hate that energy. You know what I mean?
That's what, dude. You had this joke about that school, the Trump shooter, that, and I don't even know if you even do that. If that was just like a fucking one-off.
Yeah.
But it was so fucking funny, man.
Thanks, man. It's funny you said that because I was literally at the improv for their Halloween party.
Yeah.
And shout out Josh the Booker at the Ice House. He was there and he was telling everyone in the group, he's like, if you guys haven't heard his Trump joke, it's like fucking hilarious. And yeah, it's kind of funny because that was the night you saw me do it at the Ice House. That was like the first time I like taped it. You know what I mean? But I love in the clip I have of it, you can hear your laugh in the back. Yeah, I was like, that's great. But yeah, it's funny because like it's always interesting because like some people like they come on, they're like, oh, I didn't really watch that much stand up growing up. Like, were you big into like comedy movies too, or?
Yeah, man, that was I loved, because I didn't really watch like horror or anything like that until I was older.
Yeah.
But my shit was definitely like comedy movies and action, right? Because I'm a kid.
Yeah.
Like Jingle All the Way, I think people don't really regard it as a fucking comedy, but that's Sinbad is the second lead. What's my name? Phil Hartman.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why Martin's on the show. I have talked about Jingle All the Way ad nauseum on this show.
Yeah.
Like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Like I think it's my favorite. Like, it's definitely my favorite Christmas movie. But like Heidi, me and her, like, it's an inside thing of ours, like how much we love that fucking movie. Like,
I had the original Turbo Man action figure.
Dude, what's his name in the Phil Hartman?
Phil Hartman, yeah.
Dude,
who played like the dude trying to like rizz up his.
These
wife.
cookies! Put down my cookies! He's like losing it the whole time. Like, trying to bang his wife. Like, fucking Phil Hartman. So that movie, Sinbad. Like, that movie's just. I love those like one-off '90s movies that are just like they don't make movies like that anymore. Everything's like a series, and like got 10 Frozens, and you know what I mean, like. But what else were like some like, if, you don't have to make a list, but like what else were like some comedy movies that you like appreciated growing up?
Dumb and Dumber, The Mask.
So you're a big Jim fan like I am.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah. I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. What's fucking Don't Be a Menace.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I remember when we found that movie, like me and my friends, we were like, all obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't believe how fucking funny that movie was. And I've actually, like, I got to talk to the Wayans brothers a few times out here, and it's, like, surreal every time. I'm like, dude, you guys are, like, the coolest. Like, Damon was the one who was like, man, you should go to New York. And I was like, I'm booking my flight tomorrow. I'm like, whatever you say, Damon Wayans. Like, I can't believe I'm talking to you right now. But, like, And then I remember Sean's really cool, too. Those are the only two I've, like, met and talked to. But I remember we were talking about, like, we were trying to get Sean Wayans to come do Sean Porter show at Flappers, and he was like, because they were like showing up there for a while, like doing sets, like right when we were kind of on the way out.
Yeah.
And I ended up just like talking to them in the hallway for like 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and like they were cool as fuck. And then I remember we ran into Courtney, and it was like out of a movie. Courtney was like talking to Sean, I guess, and Sean was saying that we might get, like, Sean Porter was saying he might get like Sean Wayans to be on the show. She's like, you guys don't know Sean Wayans, like blah 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 blah. It was like out of a movie. 2 seconds later, he walks in and walks right up. He's like, "What's up, guys?" Like, that's what's up. And she was like shocked. She was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Yeah." But I mean, I can't. They finally got the rights to Scary Movie back.
Yeah, dude. I'm trying so hard to fucking get a writing job on that.
Dude, you'd be great on that. They put you in it. I feel like just being around you, like, you know what I mean, like, and how cool they fucking are, and like, it's cool hearing them. I was hearing them stories about like them, like, not discovering Jim Carrey, but like giving him his like chances. You know what I mean, and everything like that. He
was like, do you ever watch old Jim Carrey stand up?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's so many. It's funny to go back and look at the In Living Color, like, or really any In Living Color, SNL, any of those people's their stand up, and like, wow, okay, that's what I see how this came out of that, and like, 'cause it was all 80s, 90s was very character based stand up. Like, oh, you guys ever met a guy who does, I'm this guy?
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone's doing kind of like, even like everything going back from like Dice Clay to like Larry the Cable Guy, everyone's like doing like a personality or like a person, you know what I mean?
Every set was an audition essentially.
100%. Yeah. Could you play this character on TV?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which makes it all the funnier that Dice Clay was that. I thought Andrew Dice Clay was Andrew Dice Clay. It was like a Jewish guy playing
like an
Italian dude.
Yeah.
And to the point where he got like, like the OG version of canceled. Where they're like, yeah, we some of us won't work with him on SNL. He's like, you see like the real guy, be like, I don't know why they don't want to fuck with me. Like I'm not really like that. I have a wife. I love my mom or whatever the fuck.
I love like again like you like Don't Be a Menace is one of those ones where like I feel like most kids nowadays like have no idea what you're talking about when you bring up that movie and it's like,
do we have a problem?
Bernie Mac in that movie too.
Yeah.
Like I see your hobbies are smoking weed, drinking, and all other types of ill shit or whatever. Like he's going through his resume. I love that movie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Salary, $30 million. Like that, dude. That movie's fucking great. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Like, even I love Old School. Like, Old School is another really good one.
Yeah.
Well, we were just talking about. I saw Step Brothers and Pineapple Express on the same day in the theater.
Shit.
We stuck a pencil in the door and then came back in and they were played in this like back to back and it was fucking amazing, dude. Like,
yeah. I used to work in the movies. I would have snitched.
Really?
Yeah.
Where were you? Popcorn guy or ticket taker?
No, I was an usher. So that's what we would do, the ticket taking. We would clean shit, and we would what's the other thing we'd do? We would like we'd have to check the movies, make sure no one's like doing anything.
Were you was that your high school job or?
Yeah, high school and like first year of college, and then I started dating a girl who worked there who was trying to become a manager, and they're like, she's a manager, you can't work here, so you have to figure it out. So I was like, I'll leave. But I remember like this dude getting his dick sucked during Chicken Little.
No, Chicken Little.
Yeah, man. And they were like, yo, can you stop that guy from getting his dick sucked? I was like, I'm 17, man. Yeah. I guess so.
During Chicken Little.
So I had to, no, he was eating at that point. He was eating the girl's pussy, and they sent me to do it. So they're in the theater, and I'm like just standing there like, hey man, can one of you look up? Please look up.
Yeah.
Cause it's weird to be like,
tap
hey!
on the shoulder. Yeah.
So the dude, I'm like, hey, you can't do that. And the guy's like, oh shit. And he like stands up real quick and he like wipes his mouth. He's like, I'm sorry, sir. Now again, this guy had a mustache, right? I'm definitely younger than him.
Yeah, he's calling you sir.
Yeah, and he's like apologize. That's when I knew like how real authority shit is, right?
Yeah.
But he was like apologizing and stuff, and they were like trying to straighty up, and I was like, yeah, you can't do that during Chicken Little. So.
Oh my god, dude! What a movie to pick to. Like, it is Chicken Little because it's burned in your memory that you're Chicken Little.
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Dude, that's fucking hilarious. It's just like it's funny to like think about all this stuff, but like as far as like comedy and acting and stuff like that and writing, like where like which like do you have like one thing you're like more focused on, or you're like doing everything, or is it like is there like stuff you like? I mean, obviously, you have like dreams to do stuff, but like what's like specials, writing your own stuff, making a movie, making a show, like what do you think? Like,
man, so much. My number one goal, I think, is to build an audience and build a fan base that is with me no matter what.
Yeah.
I think that one thing I've learned and one thing I've seen is that you have to have that kind of grouping that's like, yo, we rock with this dude. We don't give a fuck about anything else. This guy is funny. He's our guy. Whatever. But I want to do that through all means, and I'd love to do like a one man show at Edinburgh. And I want to like write a book. I want like my big goals though, write a movie, write several movies, make them bitches win some awards, get some.
Would you want to like direct them and act in them, or all, like, or would it just be like, where would you kind of like
mixed bag?
Yeah,
like some I'm like I could, I'd love to be an actor in that.
Yeah.
Some I write and I'm like, oh, I could just observe. Like like there's one thing that I'm writing right now that I'm like that character doesn't fit me because it's about like a star college basketball player, but the element of the story is like, man, okay, I just want to be able to tell the story. So if I got the chance to direct it, that would be a full circle moment. But just writing it and having my ideas out into the world is also good enough for me.
100%. I mean, and it's funny because like I like produced those 2 feature films over the pandemic, right? And like I was a part of the first one. I was a part of like casting the film and everything too. And dude, sitting through auditions is the cringiest thing I've ever had to do in my entire career of anything. You know what I mean? Like it's just so tough because we were doing like it's pre-pandemic, so we're doing everything in person too. And but I always think back, I'm like, fuck, I would have loved like this person for that or that person for this. Like now that I like, I'm way more in the industry, you know what I mean, and stuff. Yeah. But I think I appreciate that too, because like it's obviously like I'm trying to put my, I've done a lot, but it's also like there's stuff I want to do in like movies, and I love writing, like, you know what I mean, like there's like I want to do a Auguste Caesar biopic, and I want to do a Lucky Luciano biopic, and but also like the thing got me in everything is I wrote a pilot for a TV show, and I still think that's gonna be like the thing that makes me money in the end of one day. But I was working for the Penguins, and people like I showed it to like my family, my girlfriend, a couple people, and they were like, "Yo, you should be doing this. Like this is like what you should be doing." And I was like, because like like you write. I think the hardest thing to do is write dialogue, and I think that's one thing I'm good at is like just letting us sit down and like figuring out the characters talking to each other. You know what I mean? That part of it. But I'm finally like polishing it up and like kind of show it to people. You know what I mean? But like I met with like my buddy's cousin who's like a agent out here and stuff. So anyway, but it's like I love like, you know what I mean, like to each their own. If you're just focused on stand up or you're just focused on movies, like we've had actors, comedians both on the podcast, you know what I mean? But there is that element of like, I don't know, it's one of those like what's that saying? It's like jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah,
but still better than master of one.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I think something I've noticed this past year is when I have put a lot of emphasis on the podcast, for example, I've seen how much it's grown to where, within a year, right, we've had like 21,000 followers on IG and on TikTok. And
congratulations, by the way, because you guys are killing it. Like it's really entertaining, and that's what we're trying to do here. So it's like inspiring,
Thank you, bro. Yeah. And we, we got to meet like the people of WWE, and I held the WWE championship.
Crazy.
Right? And that's not something I could have envisioned 4 or 5 years ago, or even like 7 years ago when I got out of stand up, or fucking 15 years ago when I was like still trying to figure out like, okay, what kind of stand up do I want to be? What kind of comic do I want to be? Because, podcasting wasn't a thing really then.
Yep.
But I've noticed when it's funny because there's like a meeting I had with my manager like a hot minute, like 6 months ago. He's like, you have your eggs in a lot of different baskets. What happens when you put them in one? And I think as soon as I put my focus and my energy and my time and my money into this podcast, I've seen how it's grown. But also, like, a lot of that is taking out the ego and taking out because I can be the butt of the jokes in a lot of in a lot of our shit.
Yeah.
But I've learned to like, if I'm able to humble myself and like take that role, and take the time of like letting the joke breathe, it is done. Like there moments where I was like getting roasted from fucking 2-3 months ago on the podcast that still get like comments and like, oh my God, it's so funny, and we weren't expecting this guy's laugh and the way this dude did this, and he didn't know this was gonna happen in the tier and the quote at the because like they're roasting me about like I took my shirt off or about my hoodie off. I think it was this one actually. I took my hoodie off and I fucking had I had a tank top on, but because I was taking it off, it got like pushed up and the camera cut on me right then.
Like I said, you inspired me to put that. I was like, I'm fucking fat as shit over here. I'm like, you inspired me to put that. I literally was like, I have to wear something for Martin today. I was like, I don't know what it is. Yeah, but that's funny.
But they started like joking about it, and I like a single tear starts rolling down my face. And CT goes, oh, you could cry on cue. I go, this isn't on cue. And that being like the punchline of the clip is what fucking skyrocketed it. And I'm like so happy that I said that, and like it's such I'm like, man, that if that's my thing is I have to be the butt of jokes, I'll take that to fucking. And there are moments where it's like that guy shouldn't be making fun of me. But other than that, it's like, yeah, man, I'll do it if it's gonna bring success.
And it's like even since I've known you, it's like you're not you're not afraid to be like laughed at, which is fun. You know what I mean? But it's like it's also because you're like. It's funny. Like that's it. I said there's so many times where you make me laugh where it's just like, I'm like, again, I'm so like happy to be your friend, but it's just like every time I hang out with you, I'm always, I'm like, if Martin's going to be there, I guarantee he's going to make me laugh without even you trying, like you're not even trying to, you're just being you know what I mean? And that's what comes off like, even like you were saying, like some from months ago, like popping back up, it's because like, if I'll do this, like if I see something I like, I'm like, even if I saw, I'm like, oh, it's going to make me laugh again if I watch it. You know what I mean? And like, it's like that whole, aspect to it, and again, like it just I'm happy as hell for you guys. Like CT is the man too. Obviously, I haven't met the third guy yet, but that's dope as hell. I'm gonna do everything I can to get you guys Kurt Angle on the podcast someday. Dude. Yeah, like
that's my favorite. That's my goat.
That's why it's so funny because like I grew up with my best friend's dad was his sparring partner for the Olympics, and like that was with the Perk Angle days. It was crazy. I was like, his whole family's great, but it's just so funny because he's such a small and like. My high school, like Mark Cuban went there and shit. Like you would never know. They don't give a shit. They'd have no shrine for Mark Cuban. They have a shrine for Kurt Angle. You know what I mean? It's like,
man, he didn't wrestle.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny too. My best friend, shout out Mike. His dad's the one who sparred him. He broke Kurt's pin record for the fastest pin in our high school's history. He pinned this kid in like 8 seconds, and Kurt had like someone at 13 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just like, and it's so funny because they announced it on the morning announcements. My friend was never ever at school, like never on time, and he wasn't even there when they announced it. And like people kept going around like, "Hey, congratulations, Mike!" And he's like, "Why people keep telling me congratulations?" I'm like, "Oh, you weren't here, were you? Like, you have no idea." But I think we're gonna take a quick 5-minute bathroom break, and then we'll come back with the games, and then wrap up.
Let's do it.
All right, awesome. Be right back, guys. But guys, hey, yeah, we're back. We are back. We're going to do the good, bad news. This is just random topics or subjects that are in the media right now.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I'll start it off to kind of give an idea, and then we'll pass over the hat. So the first one we got here is artificial intelligence. So AI.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not, like, afraid of it. Maybe I should be.
I am and I'm not, right? So I have a buddy of mine... Every time he writes shit, not like joke-wise, but like if he's like writing like a one-sheet or whatever, he'll use...
See, I've never used it.
Yeah.
Have you?
I've used it before, yeah.
I've never used it.
I see the benefits if you're just trying to get something quick out there. But
like OpenAI or whatever it's called? Or?
OpenAI, I mean, if you're doing images, there's like hella shit. Like I do like music on it sometimes with Suno. But what's the ChatGPT? So he'll use that and like the the one sheet will be like, this guy is hilarious and he does hilarious things where he has hilarious takes. If you want hilariousness, then this is the guy to go. I'm like, that doesn't has no soul, and like no soul. Tell that's
especially because I think that's another part is like as we're both writers, it's like I don't know how to feel about it. Like I guess it. I don't know, man. I need to use it. I need to try it. I need to see what's going on because I've only talked to like Siri, and I guess that's technically AI.
Yeah. I mean, everything's AI.
Did you see the movie Her?
Yeah. Where they did like the little dance and shit.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I thought.
But now they've got to recreate that because there's like the new what's my girl Megan Fox movie where she's like an AI bot essentially. Megan was kind of like an AI.
iRobot was like from our kids. Like when we were like. I love the iRobot. I hate Will Smith now, but I don't know. How do you feel about Will Smith?
I mean, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. It sucks for me because I always liked him, and it's one of those things like it's not. And not I when it happened, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna hate this guy forever now. But then I try to rewatch his stuff now, and I'm like, I don't like you anymore. But I'll say I'm a huge Chris Rock fan. Like I said, we were just talking off camera. I saw him live and shit. So I don't know. I never had that.
I get both sides of it. You don't want anybody to run up and hit you in front of millions of people, but at the same time, if you're talking shit, then it happens.
And so, as someone who's got attacked on stage before, you know what I mean. It's
I've had guns pulled on me, so I get it. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah,
I had a guy one time who also did like kind of. He didn't like fight me or attack me, but he like ran up on stage. It was like yelling at me, and I was like, all right, let's calm the fuck down. But I've had guns put on me twice. So
really? On stage?
Yeah, I was on stage. They were off stage.
Where at here in Hollywood?
It was Birmingham.
Really?
Yeah, the first time I was roasting this dude in the front row of a show, and it was like 2009. Rojo Restaurant. They were doing like a comedy competition showcase thing. And
the big leagues, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. So this dude and his friends show up. They sit in the front row, and they're talking the whole time. Like they were
for everyone's set, like for
everyone's set. And some people try to like, hey, can you guys keep it down? It's shut the fuck up, whatever, right? So I was brazen, 22 years old, and I'm like, hey, Roscoe home. Hey, welcome home, Roscoe Jenkins. Can you keep it down? That movie had like just come out, and like they got laughed at for the first time. So then 3 of them shut the fuck up. One guy was like, absolutely not. So we're like going back and forth. I was like, yo, where'd you get your hair braided in prison and shit like that? I'm just like going in on this dude. He's like, well, fuck your shoes. I go, we have the same like shoe, like our shoes look the same. And he hated that. So after the show, he's like, talking to people, and he points at me, he goes, "I'm gonna see you outside." And I was like, "No, you're not."
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm out of here.
Yeah. So he goes outside, and I waited for a little bit, and I remember here's how shitty like a lot of them fucking comedians were. Every time I was one dude like, "Hey man, this guy, like, will you walk with me?" And he goes, I'm not going. I was like, "You fucking puss." Like,
yeah, like
you
not
talk
got my back. Yeah,
like you talk so much shit about how you want to fight people and you're Irish or whatever. And,
but when push comes to shove,
yeah. So I waited and then hung out, drank a little bit more, and
of course he's Irish, by the way. Nope, sorry. Okay.
and then like the guy was gone. I was like, okay, I'm cool. The next week, I'm at an open mic, and this woman who's working at the bar is like, "Hey, are you the comedian that was at Rojo last week?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Yeah, the girl who was there works here, and her boyfriend, well now ex-boyfriend, he was there, and he was the guy who was like you were like talking shit to, but he went outside." I go, "Okay, where is he here?" And I'm freaking out.
Yeah,
she goes,
like,
no, he's in jail. I go, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, he went outside and he went and got a gun to like shoot you." And like his friends were trying to calm him down, but he was like waving the gun. He was like, "No, I'm gonna kill that motherfucker. I'm gonna kill that motherfucker." And it was like an affluent neighborhood in Birmingham, and they called the police. This guy had warrants out for his arrest already, so they ended up just like scooping him up. And I'm like, man,
what the fuck?
Yeah,
dude?
man. So I back the blue. I support cops.
That it's so funny you said that because I was on the last episode. We were just talking about how I got attacked at the same place that Mike Tyson got a gun pulled on him.
Yeah, that happens a lot there.
Right, and I'm like, well, I'm done going there. I'm retired. I put up the jersey. I'm like, I think
your video went viral if you get it.
Yeah, that was like but it's funny because like you said, it's like me. I was just defending, like they were heckling everybody.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking stand up for this. You know what I mean? But then I was like, oh shit, he's coming. You know what I mean? And like with my criminal background, I was like, I don't want to do anything and get in trouble. So I look over. I'm like, the guy charged you. I look over the bouncer. You could literally see the bouncer get in the way and like wipe the smile off his face. He was laughing too,
Yeah.
But then he was like, shout out you got to do a better impression of me. But he was British, I think, and or Australian, one of the two. But I think it was British. And he was like, mate, you're like, I should have gotten away sooner, but you were making me laugh so hard. I was like, yeah, you definitely fucking should have. But also a nice compliment. I appreciate you were laughing. But I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, I think a conversation of me and you talking about AI went to Will Smith, and then us to talking about you almost getting shot by some fucking random dude in Alabama. Like,
and
that's
fucking fighting.
That's the mind of a comedian, people. By the way, we can go over.
We'll make everything back to comedy.
Let's get you a subject here.
But did you see the George Carlin AI special?
No.
Okay, it was trash. It was on YouTube.
Like someone AI to okay.
It was like, yeah, this is what heaven's like. So AI for me, it's like I see its benefits, but it can't.
I gotta actually get on and try it. I've never tried it for anything.
Give it a try.
Yeah, I want to see what it's like, honestly.
Conspiracy theories.
Ooh. I want to hear. Yeah, you a conspiracy theory guy?
I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy. There are some that I'm like, well, that makes sense. That's
moon landing. You think we landed on the moon?
I think we landed on the moon.
Okay.
I think shit like that, or was the Earth flat? That's I don't know where white people came up with that, but that's definitely some white people.
You don't think Stanley Kubrick made the moon landing?
No, man. I don't think they had the fucking. Have you seen a movie from the 70s or was it the 60s? When did the moon landing happen? 64, 60, whatever. If you saw a movie from that time, they did not have the resources or ability to fake a fucking moon.
Yeah.
Like, movies were trash then, dude. And like, yeah. So I don't.
Have you ever seen the video of the guy who made a whole documentary about the moon landing being fake? And he goes up in the video and asks Buzz Aldrin. He's like, well, how do you feel about lying about the moon landing? And Buzz Aldrin's like 80 and just socks him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that video. It's like,
yeah, man. We need more of that.
Yeah.
But I like my conspiracy theories are essentially like if you have a like a patent for something that could be revolutionary but shut down an industry, the government just kills the fuck out of you.
Did you see Russia is unveiling in 2025 a cancer vaccine?
Mm-mm.
It's apparently if you have cancer, it's a shot to like get rid of it.
Yeah.
But it's not like preemptive. But yeah, they're like, yeah. It's apparently I just read this whole article on it yesterday.
Good.
Yeah.
But they're gonna kill that motherfucker. Whoever that is, we're gonna bomb the fuck out. Somehow we're gonna.
No wonder we're in a war with Russia.
Yeah, we're gonna have a war with Russia. Yeah. It's like, hey man, we can't. Cancer treatment's where the money is. What was the thing of like they just cancer treatment patients last year spent $16 billion on cancer treatment, right? There's the patients, and that the company where that CEO just got shot, their profit of the year was $33 billion.
I'm hoping that is in here because we
Yeah.
have to talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm real interested to see what your thoughts are on that. So if I'm sure we'll get to it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Is it in there? No? All right, we're ratting it. But we'll end on that one. That's what we'll do. But actually, let's just talk about it now. Fuck it. What do you think? Talking about conspiracy theories. What do you think about that whole thing?
Man, how has it not happened more?
True.
How has it not still happen? And that's why. And I guess this could be a conspiracy theory because now they're trying to label it as a terrorist attack.
What?
Yes, they're trying to put Luigi. They're trying to label it as a terrorist attack. Like that was the thing that came out today.
What?
And it was with like the way that New York especially labels terrorist attacks. It has to be like a group. It has to be like an ideology. All the shit that's supposed to be involved with that. But it's clear that they are trying to make sure this shit never happens again. That's why they arrested that lady in Florida.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, who like
made the threats or whatever.
and they weren't even like threats. She just quoted what that motherfucker wrote on the bullet. And I don't even think it was Luigi because the guy who shot him looked way different from the guy they caught, like the Luigi dude. So I'm like, this guy is like fat and older.
Yeah.
This is like a young, fit dude. You know, you see the different eyes and the different jacket color, shit like that.
So there's Italian eyebrows. You know those.
Yeah, man. I was like, this is a completely different dude.
That is the one thing I had to say. I'm like, Italians shooting people in New York again. We're back, baby.
Yeah.
Like, those paisans, we're back. But when they kept talking about the guy too, I'm trying to. Maybe you could help me with it, but I was trying to make a bit about it. I literally did it when I was opening for Patrick Warburton on stage, and I was like the one time, like, you know, everything else was like pre-done joke, but I was like, all right, I gotta talk about this.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, he's Italian, he's from Pennsylvania, he's got bad back. I'm like, is this me? Did I fucking kill the CEO? And I'm like in a bad dream, or like, you know what I mean? I'm working on some kind of bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you think he did? Because that was the other weird thing about it is like you figure like They said they found a manifesto on him, and it's like that should be a shut case then. And then his lawyer's like, "Where's the evidence?" And it's like,
and what manifesto has a portion where it's like, I respect what the feds are doing. It's like, all right, suck my dick,
dude.
This is clearly planted.
Yeah, I saw a meme of like it's like literally just like FBI agent making a note. It's like, yeah, what do you? No one does that.
Yeah, but I think that whoever actually did it, they can't catch him or he's in on the whole ruse. They're like, well, this guy hasn't fucked for a year because he had back surgery, so we could like place it on him.
Yeah, go for the incel route.
Yeah, but I don't think they're expecting the rhetoric to be, because you can see it with like Fox News being like, well, I can't believe they're glorifying this murder. It's like, you motherfuckers glorify murder all the time. You had fucking Kyle Rittenhouse and like the dude who choked out that homeless black dude in New York.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So it's like you can't now just be like, oh, you know, it's because it's a rich white dude. That's the only reason you give a fuck, man.
Did you see that Burr late night thing that went viral again?
Mm-mm.
So Burr, I think he was on like Conan or one of those late night shows like 9 years ago, and he was talking about the CEO of Nestle saying that he thinks water isn't like a human right.
Yeah, and
he was like, this guy should be hunted down and shot. Like he says it on the air, you know what I mean? And he's like, what do you want to own all the rain? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? You know, and it's a great bit, but it's like it went viral again after like obviously now a CEO got shot. You know what I mean? He's like you're CEO for Nestle. You should be making cocoa. Like you shouldn't be fucking. I want to own all the water. You know what I mean? But what's up, guys? We're back. We almost had the computer die, so we just want to make sure we didn't lose any of this amazing content for you guys. I think who's up? I think you're up again, right?
Or no, at the last one.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Ooh, worst joke we've ever written.
Oh, shit.
That's a good subject. I don't think we've ever done that one.
Yeah. You go first while I think of this, because I've had a few.
I've had a few. The worst is like when you think something's going to be good, and then it like, you know what I mean? When you're like, oh, this is going to hit, and then it doesn't.
Yeah.
I always say like I try something like 3 times, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there was one I was working on recently, and I thought it was going to work, and it fucking never did, and it was like killing me about it. And I'm trying to remember exactly how I did it, or what the subject was, but I don't know, dude. It's funny because like there's some jokes where like it'll do so bad once that I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
Where it kind of worked one time, you know what I mean? And then it didn't. I remember I did the joke one time up in the Bay, and I think I said bitch one too many times, and these girls were not appreciating it, you know, and yeah, I mean, I think I remember I said like, I'll do one more joke and get out of here, and she goes, or you could just leave now. And I was like,
wow.
And I just remember being like, yeah, I could. I'm not. I was like, your mom could have swallowed you, but I guess neither of us got to get what we wanted. And then I left. I just like literally was like, all right, well, that's my set. And I like didn't hang out after I left the show. But can you think of your worst joke?
Yeah, probably. Okay, so there's one that I won't consider it the worst because it has worked, but it does not always work. And when it doesn't work, it really doesn't work. But I love the joke. I haven't done it in a while, but I have this joke where I say, I'll go, how many of you guys have seen RoboCop 3? And usually no one has, which is always the first mistake. And I go like, I'm a big movie guy, and RoboCop 3 was filmed in Atlanta. It was the third of the RoboCop trilogy, lowest grossing, but it has my favorite scene of any movie ever. So there's this guy, this homeless dude, and he walks into the police station, and he goes to the police chief and goes, all right, y'all got a RoboCop, huh? What else y'all got? An alien cop? A ghost cop? And the police chief responds with, Leon, I told you we don't have time for this. And then Leon leaves. But that indicates to me that Leon has been coming there for a very long time, trying to figure out all the different types of cops they have because he can't grasp the concept of the one RoboCop. I'm like, I know there's an extended scene somewhere. He's like, y'all got a werewolf cop? Y'all got a Dracula cop? Y'all got a vampire cop? Y'all got a cop? It's like a conjoined twin, but you don't make him feel bad, so I call him cop.
Yeah.
Y'all got a Frankenstein cop? Y'all got a King Kong cop? Y'all got a Godzilla cop? Y'all got a Godzuki cop? Remember Godzuki from the 70s cartoon? Y'all got a girl cop? Not like a woman, but I mean like a little girl going to the bus fools. Y'all got it, and I just like keep going and going and going. But like,
I think you have to be a fan of RoboCop to like that joke, and like I am, which is like I feel like it's such an obscure like '80s movie that no one remembers.
Yeah,
but, like
'90s.
Well, '90s, yeah, I guess everything's I'm like I was born in '93, so everything to me is like
you're a baby. Bro.
Yeah, I'm like everything to me is like fuck. I don't know.
Well, that's when RoboCop 3 came out.
See, there you go. Good year. But no, again, you have to be a fan of RoboCop, which is I feel like it's such an obscure thing to like most people.
Enough to be a fan of RoboCop 3 and understand this one scene where this dude named Leon, who's not in any other scenes, does this.
Yeah. Good impression of Leon, though.
Thank you, man.
Here you go.
I think actually the first RoboCop came out in like 88 or 89, so I'm like, so it was both.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm talking about one, not three.
Best comedy experience.
Oof. Yeah, what is yours?
Man, outside of a threesome, dude, I think there's a few. The first time I got a standing ovation was dope.
Where was that at?
That was in Chicago. Mm-hmm. That was at the Laugh Factory. It was like fucking, just like, I don't think I could. No, I'm not gonna say that. I killed so hard they were just like, and it was that, and it was like a showcase show. There were like still like 2 more comics afterwards. It was
the adrenaline, just like
bro, you could have floated me off of that.
Yeah.
Probably like that's up there. Getting on Last Comic Standing was up there.
That's dope.
Performing in front of, so there's like a Hannibal Buress used to do this show in New York called the Knitting Factory in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And it was one of the times I did it. And the thing is that like Brooklyn crowds are weird, and that show always had like celebrities on it. So I was having to follow Michael Che.
Oh shit.
And I think he had just gotten Weekend Update, or he was just.
I was just gonna say he's on SNL already. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to follow him, and my first few minutes, man, just was not. And I was supposed to do like 15 or 20, and it just was not hitting. But I just kept going and going and going, and then eventually it got to the point they were like, they fucking loved me. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, Hannibal went on and said, he goes, man, that was like watching like a boxing match where like the guy's like getting hit and stuff, but he's not giving up and he's not backing down. And he's like giving me my flowers on stage, and that was just such a cool moment.
Yeah.
And then, and I think that's the thing. When you stick it out, be it on stage or be it in comedy, in life, whatever, you'll see the dividends of it all.
Yeah, and it's surreal for us because we're coming from like smaller places. You know what I mean? It's like I never thought we'd be fucking doing shows in Hollywood and shit like that. It's crazy. Like sometimes I do like have to like take back. You know what I mean? Or like you said, like Hannah was coming up and being like, "Yo, like that's fucking like that is cool as fuck." I think one of my surrealist moment was when I was backstage for Bill Burr's thing at the Hollywood Bowl. That was like because I was just like, I can't believe I'm like. Got it, and Bartnick invited me, but it was like then I'm back there and I'm just like John Lovitz and like all these celebrities and shit, and I'm just like so bad when I take out my phone, but I was like, you gotta play cool, like you're cool, you're blah blah blah. But I think the coolest thing too, I got to do like I've done it now twice, but doing the Pittsburgh Improv, like that was like 600, 800 people, and it's like in my hometown, like, and just shit like that, like, and it was cool too because it was like same thing. I'm hosting for 2 black female comics, you know what I mean? So it's like I come out and I was like, who the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Same thing. Like I had to win them over, you know what I mean? But then by the end of it, like I remember Courtney was like making fun of like this guy in the front for having like his like chains hanging out, you know what I mean, or whatever, and then she featured, and so when before the headliner came out, Vaughn, I was like. I literally just like I tucked my chain, and when I came out, I was like, all right, give it up for Courtney. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, she gone, and like pulled my chains out, and I was like, don't let her bully you. Like that whole everyone loved it. Yeah, but that was probably like that was definitely one of the cool. That and doing the Burr thing were probably the 2 highlights so far with stand up for sure.
Nice.
All right, let's see what we got. Oh, this is probably a better one for you than me. Kill Tony.
Kill Tony. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I had a good experience on the show. I think the thing is, doing a minute of stand-up is very difficult.
You only get a minute?
A minute or 2 minutes, I think.
Damn.
Yeah, something like that. It's very short.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like one joke.
Yeah, basically.
Do you remember what you did?
I think I did like a portion of my cat joke, and I remember it was one of those things of like I was funny enough to where they couldn't like say, "Oh, this guy sucks."
They couldn't make fun of you.
They couldn't make fun of me.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you seems like you've been doing this for a while." I was like, "Yeah, I have." They're like, all right, cool.
Was that the Comedy Store back then?
Yeah, it was back at the Comedy Store. So it was very much a like, oh, we don't really know what to do with this energy because you're funny and you're not like, we can't. Really,
you're not on one side of the, like they want like you to be terrible or you to be fucking Dave Chappelle or something like that.
Yeah, and
like at that time it's like you were probably new too. So
no, this was 2018. No.
Oh really?
No. It would have been during the pandemic, so 2020, 2021.
Oh damn.
But yeah, it was one of those things of it just was, I think the interview or argument or whatever they might have wanted, I wasn't giving them that.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, yeah, I've been doing it for a while. Started it here, Okay, cool. Well, yeah, talk to Red Band sometime. All right, cool. And that was it. So it wasn't as dynamic of a, because I didn't want to be like, or like, fucking niggers are like, I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do funny shit and stuff that I know.
That's not what they want. They want like the viral clip thing that they can like,
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. I met Tony real quick at the
Comedy
Store party.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know much about it. It's so funny. My brother went to their thing in New York, and again, my brother's a musical theater actor. Like he's, and I cried laughing when he told, because like his friend was like, "Oh, I got an extra ticket. Like I need someone to go." And my brother went, and I'm just like, just picturing my little brother at that just made me laugh so hard because I'm like, you guys, our energy couldn't be more on 2 different spectrums, like or whatever. But I used to live in Austin, so I want to go back down there and check out the mothership and do that whole thing, but I haven't got to. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up the podcast. Just thanking Martin for coming on. Obviously, this was a great episode, great guest. We're definitely going to have you on again, have you on the Ice Out Show again in the new year.
Love that.
Just want you to plug your podcast and everything you got going on.
Yeah, man. At Martin Morrow on Instagram and TikTok. Before the Bell podcast, check us out. Also on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah. Another episode of Sense of Your TV. Martin, you're my dog.
My boy.
This was really fun, man. I always love chopping it up with you, like, anytime, but really appreciate you doing this, bro.
Thank you, brother.
And we would love to have you again. Guys, Sense of Humor TV, as always, at Augie D Comedy. Come out to a show soon. I'll be in New York, and I'll see you guys after the holiday. Love you guys. Sense of Humor TV out.
Thank you.